それをまず言ってほしいんですか。
その今が入ってたこと。
そうそうそうそう。
Back when Lamal was still in the band, we used to get a lot of, I guess, younger teeny bopper types at the concerts, and I used to do a lot of screaming and stuff. And apparently, you said in the previous interview that it hadn't really phased you that much. But how was it? How was it actually?
What in England?
Last tour.
Last
same thing. Still the
Still the same thing.
But an older audience as well.
Some replacement older audiences, yeah.
Now older people are screaming as well?
Oh, there was lots of screaming, but it wasn't sort of so
It
raucous.
wasn't like last year, in fact, that it was very intense.
They did tend to listen a bit more as well.
It's not an imposition on you, screaming, like the Beatles at Shea Stadium.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Well, when you say an imposition, you mean...
I mean, it's not an annoyance in any way, or is it something you want to get rid of?
No, it's not something you want to get rid of, because it's... I think it's quite refreshing, really.
Oh, really?
It does give us a better feeling on stage.
I don't think you could be in a position where you choose your fans. You have to just sort of show yourself in the music you write and play, and then it's up to people. Whoever likes you, likes you. And obviously when we first started out, we had a high young girl fan contingent. We still have that, but I think we're slowly developing, and we're slowly having another audience come to our gigs.
So when we talked to Lamal, he said that you guys wanted to get away from the idol image and away from the teeny bopper band image.
I don't think Jamal has the foggiest idea what we want to do.
No, he doesn't know what he's saying.
But that's why he said he was dumped, because...
Well,
The thing is that there's a certain amount of musicianship in the band that has to be expressed, and therefore, we can do that now, whereas before we couldn't. It really hasn't got a lot to do with changing our audience, really. I mean, we want people to of all ages to get into our music. It's just that the musicianship was being suppressed, and therefore we didn't feel that we'd be able to flourish as a band.
How was it being suppressed before?
By ultra pop ideals.
in the fact that Lamal being the singer, obviously he'd be singing the lyrics he would want to sing, and he had a very strong view in what he wanted to do, and we always worked the band on at that time a 5-way compromise, and we found we got to the point where we just couldn't compromise on certain ideas, because we found that we wanted to move on, we wanted to progress as a band. We felt that carrying on the way we would have been going, if we'd been doing the same thing now, it would have been almost a regression. I feel like the band we have really progressed on a lot since the White
If you actually you coming to one of the gigs in Tokyo at all?
Possible.
Well, do please come along, because I think you'll find that there's a great difference, but a great improvement generally. Really, I think it's up to people to come along and see for themselves. On the Lamal school, it's up to people to
Check it out.
Okay. Let me just give a slight summary for this.
Yeah, I think you should.
So you, excuse me. How'd you actually? Was one of your goals to actually get up the age, raise the age of the audience, of your audience?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because we wanted to expand. Obviously, we want to, because like on islands there are lots of different styles, I think, and
I think not rather than, sorry Steve, if I may sort of interrupt here. Rather than raise the audience up, really we felt that we were alienating certain audiences last year, and in fact what really is, we just wanted to make it possible for different audiences to gain.
That's right, and not to lose the ones we already had, but to have other people come to the concerts.
Those people that felt alienated and didn't want to come to our gigs. I think people are more in the UK and in Europe, older and male people are willing to come and see us now, which is great.
This is going to overlap with what you're just saying, but having catered to mainly a younger teenage audience, did you feel suppressed in any ways? I think we just might have covered that. Do you have anything to add to that?
I think just the summary of that is that they tend to not necessarily be sympathetic to the musicianship, and we want people to be sympathetic to them. But they will learn to do that. And they will learn to see that he uses this on this, and that sounds good, and he plays that well. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of our audience also will grow with the band, as a lot of people do. Like with any other band, the audience will grow up with the same band. I think that we'll find that. So I think that anybody that's into the band will obviously give the music a chance, and it may be something that normally they wouldn't bother to listen to. It might be that we can bring to the attention of something different and more adventurous.
Had you thought about recruiting a new vocalist when Lamont quit, or was it just a natural thing for you to get a vocalist?
Yeah, somebody asked that this morning at the press conference, and the truth is that we just really didn't want to get anyone else in.
Why is that?
Because we are such a close shop, really. I think Yamal did find it difficult to fit in with the way we were.
You mentioned that.
And but then again, we found it very difficult to accept what he was as well. So it's partly our fault. But we just wanted to keep it closed. We work together well, and we can't really allow any aspect to come in there and destroy what we have. Because it wouldn't work.
Just out of curiosity, though, do you think you can just keep on going on like that, or do you think you'll be able to branch out?
Well, in what respect do you mean branch?
Well, it seems like you have a very insular organization.
We do.
And is it going to get worse, or is it going to branch out more?
Well, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's by far the best way to work.
And also, there's always opportunity. Obviously, we're very busy at the moment, but for solo careers and things, or things with other musicians. So there's no set strict rule that obviously within KajaGooGoo, members can go off and do things, but obviously at the moment we're so busy that is nearly impossible. But we don't when we say a closed shop, it's
we do meet other musicians and play with other musicians from time to time, and we've got like backing singers that we use live. It's not like we're just there and don't accept anyone.
As far as writing is concerned, and the way that we work, it's a professional outfit. It is, you're right, it's very close.
Yeah.
People find it very difficult to get to us or get into what we're doing or feel part of what we're doing, because we've been doing it for so long. Subconsciously we have built up this like the walls of Jericho, all around us, which really stop anyone from coming in, and that's the way it'll always be. But we will go out and work with other musicians.
From what you can see in the Lion's Mouth video, Nick, you play the stick, and also do the vocals, and it seems like you're taking on a pretty heavy burden in the band. Is there a possibility of you taking on too heavy a burden in a four-member outfit?
I think that it's up to every member of the band to take on an equal burden. If one is taking on a heavy burden, then the others should take on a great burden. I think that's the way the band works.
How about the other three members?
Well, it's a situation where initially Nick has a lot of work to do, and it's up to us to really give him all the support we possibly can. Because at the time when we went out and jumped in the deep end, and Nick played bass live on stage and sung vocals, and we'd done 2 festivals in Germany, which was a great experience for us, because it was like jumping in the deep end with everything. And I think we come to it very well, and it's not a point where we say we've got it totally together, but it's like it's progressing, and we're on the right road. We feel very confident.
I should ask, first of all, who does the bulk of the lyric writing in the band?
Nick
he wants to know about the lyrics a little bit. He says like a song like Island seems to have a very a theme of solitude. Is that from actual experience, or?
Yeah, I write lyrics from first-hand experience.
And are you a very solitary person, or do you experience a lot of solitude, or what?
From time to time, it goes from one extreme to another. But the lyric, describing to an individual or to a journalist what the meaning of a lyric is, or the thinking behind a lyric, is a bad policy, I feel.
How's that?
Well, because that limits the way that person will see it. Personally, I prefer people just to not ever ask me that question, so they can always arrive at their own particular feelings about the lyric or the song itself. For instance, if I say that the Islands is about solitude, and tell you in depth exactly how it was written, you will see it always that way, and that will limit you every time you hear it.
自分のシーンについてね。They tell him all the lyrics in the album are very pessimistic, though.
Oh no, they're not.
Not at all.
No, they're all very optimistic. They are realistic, but they are optimistic.
逆だって。楽観的で right off from the position of a person who, rather than being, what did you say? Completely in love with a person, always being with them, you sort of take a very cool stance.
Cool stance.
And keep like a person who wants to keep their distance, like maintain a relationship, but also maintain a distance.
Yeah, I think so.
What's there? そういうところもあるかもしれない。
それだけ。
それはあんまり喋りたくないんだよ、死については。
あ、そうか。
それは誰みたい。You're apparently a very you're a Christian, and very serious about your religious beliefs. He's wondering that in a world of pop music where so many of the practitioners are into sex and drugs and rock and roll, are you able to keep your distance?
それと他のメンバーについても。
Yes.
How do you go about?
The first thing of importance is to realise that these people are totally they are within their rights to do whatever they want, and I have no right to judge them in any way. It's just that I feel for me that would be wrong to get involved in that. Therefore, I have very clear-cut ideas about it. But that is my personal belief, and I don't enforce that upon people. And most people disagree with me anyway.
How about other members?
それ古典的世界について。古典的なね。
How do you the others feel about the singers, rock and roll music?
Well, I'm not a Christian, but I can just I feel that I can see what's wrong and what's right, or I can feel what's right and what's wrong for me and for other people around me. But I wouldn't like to tell anybody else, obviously the same as Nick. But I just feel that anyway. I don't know what that is, but that's something inside me. And I think we all feel like that, whether we're Christians or not. In that respect.
How about the other guys?
Yeah, I agree with Jason in the same way.
It's funny, it comes back to what we were saying about being a unit, that though we have different beliefs, Stuart and I share a similar belief, an identical belief. But between Jez and Steve, we are all in agreement, more or less, about what we feel, and we live our lives along those lines, within the confines of our working unit. And that's why it works so well, because we all agree basically about a large amount of social things.
当然ね、その教理をね置こうとしてるんだけども、別に自分がなんていうのかな、そういうキリスト教の信者だからって言ってね、even those people who don't want to get into that kind of thing, when first becoming a professional musician or a popular musician, tend to drift in that direction. especially if they're weak? What keeps you strong? What supports you?
Yeah, exactly. As you said, they're weak lawyers, probably. I think it's also sort of they've got this urge to live for today, and there's no tomorrow, and that's a very selfish way of looking at things.
I think also because we all have very same views really as far as that goes. I think that we're a strength to one another.
That's right, yeah. Does help
because we don't really get involved in that sort of thing. I mean,
it's not as if we don't, as you say, we don't see it or know or understand it.
We're not angels. Everybody has this preconception about us being a bunch of really clean living guys.
And I mean, we don't want to preach to anybody about anything, not in that. We just want to.
Actual facts.
It's a matter of people enjoying our music, really.
I mean, we've experienced certain things anyway before the band got together or during the early years, and it helps to have an experience of things to understand them.
All the things that most bands experience in this position, but like Stuart said, I think it's not for us, It's not. I'm just a normal, down to earth pop star.
Running a real pop.
The thing is, I mean, it's like it's difficult for us to come over like this when we're here. It's a different situation to people, to a lot of other people, than to see us like this. They think, we're in a great position to say this and say that, and we're not doing that because we've all been through 9-to-5 jobs and things, that are just laborious, and a lot of people do from day to day. And I feel that we can see it from different angles, very much so. We haven't just been given it; we've worked for it, sort of thing, to a certain extent.
Is this the music business, the rock and roll world, different from what you had expected when you first got into it?
I don't think it is. I think we went into it with our eyes open. I think the way that people react around the rock and roll industry is more surprising, not the industry itself.
What do you mean by that?
Well, people think it's all a big trip. You know what I mean? And the people want to be part of it so much who aren't part of it, and they have no real conception of what it really is like. Well, for instance, the groupies thing. Okay, they have this idea of glamour, which simply does not exist.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, it's not glamorous.
I mean, the fact that they do it, doesn't that mean it exists, though?
The fact that
they do it, that they practice it, and the fact that more people follow them into it, doesn't that mean it exists?
No, because they're believing a lie. This is the thing. I mean, they look to us as great gods. You know what I mean? And they think that we are.
I suppose it depends how you define glamour.
Yeah. Well, on a very basic term, they see us as some sort of, or other bands, perhaps not us so much, but as some sort of great sex object, you know what I mean? And some people like to play up to that. But really, it's not true. It's all a big act. You know what I mean?
But I mean, how about yourself though? Being, like in the roles as sex symbols, doesn't that come into your head when you're performing?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I've never thought about it.
I think really there's an aspect of performance involved, which is just aggression and just feeding off the audience. And some people might feel that way about you or the way you move, but that's an accident. People are going to feel that way about you no matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's like just going, if you go down to a disco, you go there, don't you, to enjoy yourself, to do that certain thing. You can get into that. It's the same as playing on stage for me. You know what I mean? You can get into different modes. I mean, I love playing. It's, playing to people. I think the thing is, playing to people is probably the biggest thrill we get, in so much as that all those people are really enjoying and experiencing what we've experienced through the songs, and they're enjoying experiencing the same things. And that's probably one of the biggest achievements you can get.
So in that sense, you would consider yourself perhaps the diametric opposite of, say, Mick Jagger, who is seen as a sex symbol and acts out the role to the, to the very letter.
Yeah.
Completely opposite.
I think that we are entertainers first and foremost.
Yes.
Therefore, if people get off on us from a sexual angle, even though we didn't mean it that way, that's cool. It's the way we feel. It's what we feel happy doing within ourselves. If they feel that we are doing it from a sexual angle, and we are doing it from a sexual angle, and we think that's great, great. But I wouldn't want to do that.
It's not our way.
That would be a mistake for us.
So what's the foremost thing then?
Writing songs that you feel totally into, performing them in a way that makes you feel comfortable, and being true to yourself, and hoping that your audience are going to enjoy it, and putting it forward in a new way.
Well, what do your other guys think? What's the most important thing about it?
Well, it is the songs.
That's the song.
Yeah. It's such a
I mean, we can't. I think the reason where we draw the line is that we go on stage and it is a type of an ego trip as such, because you're making a lot of people happy. It's it for that hour and a half or whatever, you are it there. But it's a matter of setting aside that when you come off stage, a lot of people carry on right up there when they come off stage as well, a lot of artists. And that's all fine for them, but I don't think that's us. I think there's a matter that you've got to come down to another level as such when you come off stage.
You've got to psych yourself up to go out there, otherwise you just go on stage and perform the numbers. You've got to get excited, really want to get out there and play. When you come off, you just come down again.
We have a lot of bands like Wham, Culture Club, Duran Duran, cracking the American charts there. Is it something that weighs on your mind?
We intend to crack the American market.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Clear as simple as
Well,
that.
Just like that.
we're going to do it.
No,
It hasn't been done yet.
Well,
we had a number 5 with Too Shy.
Yeah.
But that's old days,
But we haven't released anything from Ireland, like the big ass on the Lions Mountain. Nothing's been released yet.
It's an ambition, I think, really.
Why? Because it's the biggest American?
I don't know, there's something about it. I mean,
It's a
obviously the
challenge,
size of it.
it's a very big challenge.
I mean, it's like, it means a lot in terms of successful band, obviously. It will be an experience going through the touring and the process of the releases and everything. Like, it's so different to any market that we've been involved with promoting in,
What do you think the other bands have done to break the market? And would you use their experiences to help yourselves?
Well, yes. I mean, I think you can learn by other people's.
What successes really?
What have those mistakes and successes been, just out of curiosity, if you noticed them?
Being linked with an ultra teen bop image is wrong for America.
It's wrong, but what about Duran Duran?
They've done it in a different way.
How's that?
They've approached America in a very sophisticated way. That's what I think.
Sophisticated?
I think it's sophisticated pop music. And in the same way, I think Eurythmics have done it in an even more sophisticated way.
As opposed to say, well, wouldn't be sophisticated.
Well, no, I think that the way we would do it is probably to be a very much a live angle, because I think that's where.
Well, that's the only way to do it.
That's
There's
where our forte lies, and we believe, firm believers that basically you've got that hour to do your stuff, and if you can't do it, then they don't,
And when you say like teeny bop audience, that angle is wrong, probably wrong for us. I wouldn't say that it was wrong, sort of necessarily generally widespread, because it's proved in the past that so many acts have.
Yeah, but there's a stigma attached to being a teeny bop.
Which you have to break.
And we're trying to break out of it now.
I mean, Duran initially they started. Obviously, they've been,
they're on to their 4th album nearly now, and we're further back down the line as such, and drawing comparisons with them. They've been out to the States 3 times, 3 tours, and they have played live. And it's only when they come back from their 3rd tour back to England that they found that they'd started to break with something like the Wolf. So I think they proved that playing live is what it was about. But obviously their image attracted a lot of young fans.
It's going to be like sort of starting from a different angle. Like it's not starting from scratch necessarily, but it will be like accepting the fact that we're going to have to do sports.
One of the best things about going to America, surely, though, is that they have no preconceptions about the band of Lamar. They've never seen us play live. They can only remember one song which was released a year ago and got to number 5, and they're going to remember the name more than anything.
But in America, I don't think the emphasis is so much on, because in a lot of American bands, I think this is right, that if there is a personnel change, it doesn't seem to, like, the whole thing is that the band's name is there. And there's many American bands that are changing personnel every year, and yet there's not this big thing about it.
It's geared more for an album's type market, an album market, rather than the single, whereas comparing it with the UK, it's very fluctuates so much, and
it's
one thing's in, one thing's out, and you can't consolidate your position because you don't know what's happening from one day to another. Whereas the States is a lot more laid back, it's a lot more, there's certain fields of music, and bands have a lot longer life there, I feel, and if you can just get into that mode and you make a standard, a couple of records, and then it's an albums market we want to go for. So, it's not necessarily one single or 2 singles.
What you say, it reminds me of the headline when Lamar left the group. KajaGooGoo breaks, a nation weeps. I think that was in Sounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Tongue in cheek now.
The gap between what the American market goes for and what the British market goes for. Do you think that'll be an obstacle in your own case?
Sorry?
There seems to be a gap between what British people go for and what American people go for.
Not necessarily.
I think probably it's encouraging in a way. It makes us feel fairly confident because of what's happening for us now in all the past sort of couple of singles in England. I think it's more encouraging because it's totally different, so it doesn't necessarily follow what has happened in England.
Plus the fact I believe that in America, I think that it's not governed so much by fashion, the charts, as much as it's very cross. It's like you've got everything from new wave to rock to reggae to heavy metal, everything, and I find that more of a reality than what it is in the UK. So much as a lot of UK, there are some there's good music being made, but I do think that the charts now, particularly, are very fashion orientated. Bands seem to have a length of 3 or 4 singles that they'll ride high on, and then there'll be another band out or something else, like this break dancing things that's sort of taken off. So you get loads of breaker dancing type of bands. They'll have hits. That seems to be the way it
comes in waves.
It comes in waves. It's found.
But still, you do have your Aztec cameras next to Lionel Richie and Barbra Streisand next to,
but
KajaGooGoo.
the thing is, they don't tend to last very long. Do you know what I mean? Those sort of very underground bands, for me, they are one-hit wonders, and everybody thinks that's amazing. And look, because they're a very credible band, bands like Aztec Camera and Fiction Factory. I think really the staying power is definitely in the songs. The songs are the thing that will make a band. Culture Club have proved it time and time again. When everybody says, what's George going to do next? What does it matter? They write great songs. It doesn't matter what he does next.
It seems like a lot of bands these days have been dependent so far on making successes. one band, Duran Duran, the whole success has been attributed to videos. What do you think of the situation?
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true at all. I think their whole success is attributed to their songs, the way they look, and then their videos. But the songs come first again.
I think that you can't ever get in a situation where that if the video is even brilliant, if you haven't got the song, it just isn't. People are just not going to be into it.
I think his point is that if they hadn't had the video, it wouldn't have reached people in the first place.
I think the videos had a
I think they would have done another sort of television run, and they would have looked good, and they would have sounded good, so the single would have done just as well. It's just an added bonus. It's a new way of putting the music over.
I do agree though. It's personally, I think the videos have definitely helped, especially the ones that were made in China. It had very much a holiday.
It was a very gloss. The videos are very glossy and expensive, and that's what people go for that. It's like a fantasy thing. It's like something they'd never be able to do themselves, but they can see it on the video, and they can see the musicians or the personalities that they like doing all that in an exotic country. It just takes people out of themselves, and I think that appeals to a lot of people, especially younger people.
You're in the position yourselves now, though, that you have to make a video out of it, right?
Yeah. I think the video that is made should be very in keeping with the song and how the mood of the song is. And that's first and foremost. I'm not saying that Duran, that was right what they done. Probably not the way we would do things. We would probably want to be more closer to reality, and more in touch with the actual song. What the song warranted, we would do. And because it is promoting the song, it's not promoting young girls or different innuendos of sexuality or anything. And so probably that's where we draw the line between how they've approached their videos and ours.
How about you, Nick? You said you were sensitive about people limiting people's imagination when it comes to songs, but don't you think video would do that?
I think it can enhance the imagination, and because you're just adding another aspect that helps people see the song in a different light, to help them see. You create a mystique about the song in a video. That's the idea of a video for me. But you don't say this is what the song's about. And you for instance, Lion's Mouth, there wasn't any lions in it. Do you know what I mean? You don't just you don't use obvious things. You use things to elaborate.
I remember when I first saw, do you remember Nick, the Ikudo video from Magic Box? Did you ever see
what band?
It was Ikudo.
Oh, Ikudo, yeah.
They did a video for Magic Box, and I remember seeing that, and there was some really nice, at the time, quite new techniques, wasn't there? That screening where Simon Shashir was split off all in different, and the way the just stills all put together.
Like a show.
I remember seeing that, and that really just, like, the whole thing, I don't know, it's just very, very imaginative. Oh, some good videos.
And that all.
This may be a blind assumption on his part, but he sees a band like Wham who can take very black music, there's no denying that, and put it in a very sort of white format, if you will. He says there seems to be somewhat of a similar element in your music.
How do you mean?
Black music.
What do you mean black music?
Taking black music and putting it in white.
I think there is a heavy black influence on our music.
What do you think the difference is between you and Wham, your approaches?
Wham more disco oriented, and also they are. I mean, the album Club Fantastic sums them up in one word. They are. That is everything. They discotheque, dancing. Get down. I think that
Suntan Boys Next Door sort of thing.
That's their thing. But for us, it would be different. It wouldn't work.
I don't tag it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to live that sort of lifestyle as well to pull it off.
Yeah,
you have to be a club goer. You have to be a woman puller. You have to be a good drinker. And in the good times, get down. Well, we're in the good times, and
What do you?
Yeah.
but we do it in a different way.
Well, if they promote good times, what do you promote?
Good times.
yeah, exactly.
Good
I
time,
mean,
alternative good times.
Yes, alternative good times.
Alternative good times.
I had by all in KajaGooGoo.
It's a motto for the man.
Anyway, there's a difference. I guess since you're out of, or you're in a safe zone now, he wants to hear your comments on the British press.
That's what.
You're in a demilitarized
We
zone.
say what we feel about the British press no matter where we are, even if we're in England.
Well, what do you say when you're in England?
Sometimes there are some good reviews. Sometimes people rarely convey the facts. But I think that the British press is the epitome of the British attitude. For instance, when you come to Japan, the people are kind to each other. They have respect towards everybody, no matter from what country, and they treat people accordingly. But in England, nobody has any respect for anybody. You have to prove yourself, and everybody is better than the last man. And therefore that is the attitude they have towards music and their bands. There's always an incredible air of competition, which is loathsome, and a lot of the music press is just despicable, really.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just everybody's trying to climb the ladder, up the rung. And if they knock somebody off up the way, they're not bothered. I mean, they can review an album without picking it up,
Like looking at the cover.
Yeah, that's it.
Despite all that, we don't tend to get too hurt by what is said, though. We don't. We can manage to.
No, it doesn't affect us to the point where, we accept it as part of the music industry.
Yeah.
And it'll always be there. We're not going to change it.
What annoys me the most is I don't mind the snide comments, and I don't mind, the exaggerated rumors. But what bugs me is the album reviews. They do not listen to the records. I mean, it's obvious by reading the review. They have they review like 25 singles in one fell swoop, and now he's going to have to listen.
We had
to
a single review once. That's long ago. I can't remember which one, but the whole paragraph was stating something totally apart from the music.
That's right.
It was to do with the background information of
the band's personalities and what their personal lives entailed, rather than the quality of the music.
Well, the album shot. We talk about that for a whole paragraph. Call that a review. All right, that's music. Thanks a lot.
Some pictures?
Yeah, some pictures.